Hello, every building begins with a foundation. And so, in this tutorial, we are going to be looking at what a foundation is, how you can choose the best foundation for your building, and how you yourself can even design and actually come out with all the calculations that will enable you to have the best foundation as far as your building is concerned. So let's get into it. Hello everyone. Now, a building is made up of two parts. You have the part that is above the ground and the part that is below the ground. The part that is above the ground is called the superstructure, and the part that is below the ground is called the substructure. Now, the superstructure is designed to be as the building is meant to be used. What do I mean? If your building was meant to be used as a school, then it is going to be designed like that. If it was meant to be used as a hospital, it is going to be designed like that. So that is what just constitutes the superstructure. Now, of course, in the superstructure, you are going to have people, you have appliances in the building, and all that. And when all the activities and all that is taking place, you have load that is being transferred in this building. You have the load that will lift. You have the self weight of the building itself that is always there. It transfers it to this beam. The beam transfers it again to the columns, just like this, and finally it gets to the ground level, which is now collected by the substructure and sent to the ground. Okay, so when this load finally arrives here, the substructure now collects it and sends it safely to the ground. So that is the function of the substructure, to receive the load from the superstructure and send it to the ground. Okay, so what actually receives the load is what we call the foundation or the footing. Now, these two terms are always used interchangeably, but there is a slight difference between them. A foundation is what exists below the ground here. So everything that you see here, this little column that you see here, and the footing that you see, is all this make up the foundation. This is the foundation. Okay, this is the foundation. Now, a footing actually is just the part that collects the load and sends it to the ground. So this is the footing. This here is the footing. So there's a slight difference between a foundation and a footing, but actually they are always used interchangeably. You can use them the same and there is no problem. Okay, so there are two types of foundation. When you want to look at the type of foundation, we have two different types of foundation. You have what we call the shallow foundation and the deep foundation. So, excuse me. For types of foundation or types of footings, we have two types. You have the deep foundation, and you have the shallow foundation. So how do you know if your foundation is a deep or a shallow foundation? Well, it's very easy for you to know that. So, if you have your footing like this, yeah, this is the plan view of the footing. Of course, you have the length and you have the width. So you have the length, let's call it L, and you have the width, let's call that W. So this is your footing, and you have your column in the center like this. This is the pillar in the center. And of course, if we were to look at the section of this, if we were to cut a section of this like this, we are going to see something like this. And from here now, we can have the height of this. Okay, so in order for you to know if you have a shallow or a deep foundation is, first of all, for a deep foundation, the height should be greater than the width, the length, O, and the width. So if this height is greater than the length and the width, or the width, then you have a deep foundation. But if the height is less than the length or the width, then you have a shallow foundation. Okay, so I repeat, if the height is greater than the length or the width, you have a deep foundation. If it is less than the length or the width, you have a shallow foundation. Okay, so that is it for just the introduction of the foundations, and in the next tutorial we are going to be looking at an in-depth view of what a shallow and a deep foundation is all about. Thank you.